On March 8, 1900, fire tore through Chicago's Second Presbyterian Church, destroying its roof and gutting the interior. The stone walls survived, and more than a century later the church still stands here on South Michigan Avenue. It had been built in 1874 in the Gothic Revival style by James Renwick Jr, the architect who also designed St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. I knew precisely none of this when I came across it. I was simply walking through Chicago, saw an interesting old church, and stopped by for a look. And rather conveniently, the doors were open, so I went inside. And this, I was not expecting. After the fire, architect Howard Van Doren Shaw was given the job of rebuilding the sanctuary, but instead of recreating what had been lost, he transformed it into an arts and crafts interior: carved wood, molded plaster, murals, stained glass, and seemingly endless detail. And remarkably, what you're looking at is still largely the room Shaw created in 1901. It is now considered one of the largest and best preserved arts and crafts church interiors in the United States. Shaw's redesign also changed the proportions of the room, lowering the roofline and opening up the sanctuary, making the space considerably more intimate. And the changes are perhaps easiest to see here at the east end of the church. Renwick's original Gothic church had a large rose window here. After the fire, Shaw transformed the opening into the tall, rounded windows we see today. It was later filled with the Ascension, designed by William Fair Klein. But the real achievement of Shaw's design is less any one object than how everything works together. Wood, plaster, glass, murals, metalwork, all conceived as part of the same room. And then there are the angels, 175 of them, in wood, plaster, murals, and glass. Second Presbyterian has been called the Church of Angels. The stained glass alone is an extraordinary collection. 21 significant windows, including 9 produced by Tiffany Studios. And preservation here is active. Conservators are still removing a century of dirt and old repairs, restoring the murals and windows piece by piece. All of which raises another question. Who paid for a church like this? And who exactly were sitting in those pews? The church didn't stand here by accident. Just 2 blocks away, Prairie Avenue became Chicago's Street of Millionaires, the fashionable address for the industrialists and businessmen who were building the city during the Gilded Age. Many of them worshipped at Second Presbyterian. The congregation included Robert Todd Lincoln, along with members of the Pullman, Armour, and Blackstone families. But eventually Chicago moved on. By the 1920s, the wealthy had largely left the neighborhood. Mansions became businesses and boarding houses. Others were simply demolished. Second Presbyterian stayed, and more than a century later, I happened to walk through an open door and discovered what they left behind. Not bad for a church I wasn't even looking for.